on reason, source of madness when not under will, de ratione quae sein, voluntate est fons maniae. Is it not a marvel how he that worketh with his will, and is in constant touch with the reality external, maketh his mind to serve him? How eagerly runneth it, and returneth, gathering, arranging, clarifying, classifying, organizing, comparing, setting in array with skill and might and energy that faileth never. Nay, my son, in this way thou canst be pitiless with thy mind, and it will not rebel against thee or neglect thee. Ordinance, but now consider him that worketh not with his will, how his mind is idle, not reaching out after reality, but debating within itself of its own affairs, like democracy, introspective. Then this mind, not reacting equitably, and with elasticity to the world, is lost in its own anarchy and civil war, so that although it work not, it is overcome by weakness and division, and becometh coronzon. And unto these words I call my witness, the madness of the soul of Muscovy in this year 13 of our aeon that is ended. Therefore, behold how this, our law of Thelema, do what thou wilt, is the first foundation of health, whether in the body or in the mind, either of a simple or a complex organism.
Of truth, which it is not lawful, tell to a woman. De veritate quem femine non dicere licet. My son, I charge thee, however thou beest provoked thereunto, tell not the truth to any woman. For this is that which is written, cast not thy pearls before swine, lest they turn again and rend thee. Behold, in the nature of woman is no truth, nor apprehension of truth, nor possibility of truth. Only, if thou entrust this jewel unto them, they forthwith use it to thy loss and destruction. But they are aware of thine own love of truth, and thy respect thereunto. So therefore they tempt thee, flattering with their lips that thou betray thyself to them. And they feign falsely with every wile, and cast about for thy soul, until either in love or in wrath or in some other folly thereof thou speak truth, profaning thy sanctuary. So was it ever, and herein I call to my witness Samson of Timnath, that was lost by this error. Now for any woman any lie sufficeth, and think not in thine extremity that truth is mighty and shall prevail as it does with any man. For with a woman her whole craft and device is to persuade thee of this, so that thou utter thy secret of thy soul and become her prey. But so long as thou feed her with her own food of falsity, thou art secure.
On the nature of woman, De natura feminae. The nature of woman, O my son, is as thou hast learned in our most holy Kabbalah, and she is the clothing and sex of man, the magical image of his will to love. Therefore was it said by thine, an Wolfgang von Goethe, das ewig Weiblich seit uns hinnen. But therefore also hath she no nature of truth, because she is but the eidolon of an excitement and a going of thy star, and appertaineth not unto its essence and stability. So then to thee she is but matter, and to her thou art but energy, and neither is competent to the formula of the other. Therefore also, as thy will is itself imperfection, as I have shewed thee aforetime, thou art not in the way of love except thou be dressed in that robe of thine which thou callest woman. And thou canst not lure her to this action proper to her by thy truth, but thou shalt, as our grammar saith, assume the mask of the Spirit, that thou mayest evoke it by sympathy, but thou shalt appear in thy glory only when she is in thy power, and bewildered utterly by ecstasy. This is a mystery, O my son, and of old time it was declared in the fable of Scylla and Charybdis, which are the formula of the rock and the whirlpool. Now then meditate thou strictly upon his most worthy and adorable arcanum, to thy profit and enlightenment.
On the two rewards of the path, de duobus premius vie. Let it be a treasure in thine heart, O my son, this mystery that I shall next unveil before thine eyes, O eagle that thou art undazzled by the brilliance of light that soarest continually with virile flight to thine august inheritance. Behold, this beatific vision is of two orders, and in the formula of the rosy cross, it is of the heart, and is called beauty. But in the formula of the silver star, id est, of the eye within the triangle, it is of the mind, and is called wonder. Otherwise spoken, the former is of art, a sensuous and creative perception, but the latter of science, in intellectual and intelligible insight. Or again, in our holy Kabbalah, the one is of Tifereth, the other of Binah, and in pure philosophy, this is a contemplation of the cosmos causal and dynamic, and that of its effect in static presentation. Now this rapture of art is a virtue or triumph of love in his most universal comprehension, but the ecstasy of science is a continual orgasm of light, that is, of the mind. Thou sayest, O my father, how may I attain to this fullness and perfection? Art thou there, O my son? It is well, and blessed be the bed wherein thou wast begotten, and the womb of thy sweet mother, Hilarion my concubine, holy and adulterous, the scarlet woman. Amen.
On the ecstasy of Samadhi and how it differs from others. De extasia Samadhi quo ilias differit. Confuse thou not this beatific vision with the trances called Samadhi, yet is Samadhi the pylon of the temple hereof. For Samadhi is the orgasm of the koitin, of the unlike, and its commonly violent, even as the lightning cometh of the discharge between the two vehicles of the extreme difference of potential. But, as I shewed formerly concerning love, how each discharge bringeth either component more nigh to equilibrium, so is it in this other matter, and by experience thou comest constantly to integration of love, or what not, within thyself, just as all effort becometh harmonious and easy by virtue of practice. Rememberest thou, the first time thou wast thrown into water, thy fear and thy struggles, and the vehemence of thy joy when thou first didst swim without support, then little by little, all violence dieth away, because thou art adjusted to that condition. Therefore the fury of thine early victory in these arts magical and sciences is but a sign of thine own baseness and unworthiness, since the contrast or differential is so overwhelming to thee. But, becoming expert and adept, thou art balanced in the glory and calm even as the stars.
On the art of love and the pleasures of the mystic. De arte amoris et deliciarum mystici. The path, therefore, unto this beatific vision of beauty, O my son, is the practice of bhakti yoga, which is written in the book called 85, or Astarte, by this mine hand when I was in Gaul the beloved, at Montini, that is hard by the forest of the blue fountain, with Agatha my concubine, the very soul of love and of music, that adventured herself from beneath the cross austral, that she might seek me, to inspire and comfort me, and this was my reward from the masters, and consolation in the years of my sorrow. But the way that leadeth to the other form of this vision of beatitude, to wit, science is Jnana Yoga, or Raja Yoga, of which I have written only here and there, as one who should throw great stones upon the earth in disorder, by default of building them nobly into a pyramid, and of this do I heartily repent me, and ask of the god Thoth that he may give me, albeit at the 11th hour, virtue and wit that I may compose a true book upon these ways of union. Thy first step, therefore, O my son, is to attain unto Samadhi, and to urge thyself perpetually to repetition of thy success therein, for it has been said by philosophers of old that practice maketh perfect, and that manners being the constant habit of life maketh man.
On the highest reward, true wisdom and perfect happiness, de premio sumo, vera sapientia et beatitudine perfecta. Now then presently shall it come to pass, as by dint of each experience that component thereof, which is within thee is attuned to it, a slight effort shall suffice to unite thee therewith, and this without shock, so that thou art no longer thrown back from the trance as exhausted, but abidest therein, almost without knowledge of thy state. So then, at last, this samadhi shall become normal to thy common consciousness, as it were a point of view. Thus all things shall appear to thee very continually, as to one in his first love, by the vision of beauty, and by the vision of science. Thou shalt marvel constantly with joy unfathomable at the mystery of the laws, whereby the universe is upheld. This is that which is written, true wisdom and perfect happiness. O my son, it is in this contemplation that on hath the reward of the path. It is by this that the tribulations are rolled away as a stone from thy tomb. It is with this that thou art wholly freed from the illusions of distinction, being absorbed into the body of Our Lady Nuit. May she grant thee this beatitude, yea, not only to thee, but to all that are.
On the hell of the slaves, de inferno servorum. Now, O my son, having understood the heaven that is within thee, according to thy will, learn this concerning the hell of the slaves of the slave gods, that it is a true place of torment, for they, restricting themselves and being divided in will, are indeed the servants of sin, and they suffer because, not being united in love with the whole universe, they perceive not beauty, but ugliness and deformity, and not being united in understanding thereof, conceive only of darkness and confusion, beholding evil therein. Thus at last they come, as did the Manichaeans, to find to their terror a division even in the one, not that division which we know for the craft of love, but a division of hate, and this multiplying itself, conflict upon conflict, endeth in hotchpot and in the impotence and envy of Choronzon, and in the abominations of the abyss, and of such the lords are the black brothers, who seek by their sorceries to confirm themselves in division. Yet even in this is no true evil, for love conquereth all, and their corruption and disintegration is also the victory of Babylon.
A rhapsody to Our Lady, Rhapsodia de Domina Nostra. Blessed be she, blessed unto the ages be Our Lady Babylon, that plieth her scourge upon me, to Megatherion, to compel me to creation and to destruction, which are one, in birth and in death, being love. Blessed be she, uniting the egg with the serpent, and restoring man unto his mother, the earth. Blessed be she, that offereth beauty and ecstasy in the orgasm of every change, and that exciteth thy wonder and thy worship by the contemplation of her mind many wild. Blessed be she, that hath filled her cup with every drop of my blood, so that my life is lost wholly in the wine of her rapture. Behold, how she is drunken thereon, and staggereth about the heavens, wallowing in joy, crying aloud the song of uttermost love. Is not she thy true mother among the stars, O my son? And hast thou not embraced her in the madness of incest and adultery? Yea, blessed be she, blessed be her name, and the name of her name, unto the ages.
Rhapsodia di Astro Suo, a rhapsody to his star. O my son, knowest thou not the joy to lie in the wilderness and to behold the stars, in their majesty of motion, calm and irresistible? Hast thou thought that thou art also a star, free, because consciously, in accord with the law and determination of thy being? It was thine own glory, true will, that bound thee in thine orbit. Therefore thou speedest on thy path from glory unto glory in continual joy. O Son, O reward of my work, O harmony and completion of my nature, O token of my toil, O witness of my love for thy sweet mother, the holy and adulterous Hilarion, my concubine, adorable in thine innocence as she in her perfection, is not this verily intoxication of the spirit in the innermost, to be free absolutely and eternally? To run and to return upon the course, in the play of love, to fulfill nature constantly, in light and life, afloat in the air, O my God, without support, without constraint, wing thine own way, O swan, O bliss of brightness.
On the harmony of will and faith. De harmonia voluntatis cum destinia. This is the evident and final solvent of the knot philosophical concerning faith and free will, that it is thine own self, omniscient and omnipotent, sublime in eternity, that first didst order the course of thine own orbit, so that the which befalleth thee by faith is indeed the necessary effect of thine own will. These two, then, that like gladiators have made war in philosophy through these many centuries, are one by the love under will, which is the law of Thelema. O my son, there is no doubt that resolved not in certainty and rapture at the touch of the wand of our law, and thou apply it with wit. Do thou grow constantly in the assimilation of the law, and thou shalt be made perfect. Behold, there is a pageant of triumph, as each star, free from confusion, sweepeth free in his right orbit. All heaven acclaimeth thee, as thou goest, transcendental in joy and in splendor, and thy light is as a beacon to them that wander afar, strayed in the night. Amen.
Thelema too.